Hello, Warren Blade here with a Boker Congress knife. This knife is called a Congress because it has four blades in it. A Congress is a group of something. In the United States, Congress is a group of these people, and they have a relatively low approval rating. So hopefully your approval rating of this particular pattern of knife is higher than the approval rating for these guys, or we're not going to see many more Congress knives ever being made. This was one of the flea market knives that I purchased. Originally, the blades were covered in a thick layer of rust. So I took some steel wool, and I took the steel wool and I brushed most of that rust off and then oiled the pivots. This knife cleaned up really well, and it's fully functional. The blades are dull and haven't been sharpened in forever, but they're mostly preserved, and I don't really think the owner used them a whole lot. As far as the strict design aspects of this knife, it's quite well made. It's as well made as a case or some of the other traditional knife brands that you would have had competing with it. You do have somewhat squared blades, so you do have almost a half stop and then the fully unfolded blade that some people like in their traditional knives. It's not all rounded and cheap. You have brass bolsters, and the patina on this particular set of back springs looks like Damascus. I thought that ended up really pretty. You can also see that there's almost a texturing on the middle piece of brass, which I don't know if it's because someone dropped this knife and it skidded along something, but it almost looks like if you had a kind of a twisted rope pattern in there. I was really quite happy with how this one turned out when I cleaned it up. Sometimes you buy these knives and you don't really know, is it gonna clean up well? Did I waste my money on something that's garbage that I'm gonna throw in the very bottom of my toolbox and try not to think about the fact that spent $5 on it? Luckily, this one was not one of those. It came out great. Something you could throw in your pocket and carry to a fancy dinner, provided you sharpen it up. So as far as the blades, you have this kind of drop point sheep's foot Warncliffe combo here. Being a Boker, I'm sure they had their own terminology. This one is the main blade. It says Boker USA, and then the model number, which is again 6007. It's almost a sheep's foot kind of blade. And then of course you have your two little drop point blades that are identical, other than they're being on opposite sides of this knife. So it's the Congress pattern. Really, it snaps too. The bone was in good shape, other than whatever this particular bit of gunk that I was not able to get out. I think if I took a tack or something sharp, I could probably gouge that out, but I don't really want to risk damaging the bone. All in all, I think it was quite a find for something that some guy had in a box of knives at the flea market. I think that Boker, because of its frequent transition between company to company, is really something that's understated in terms of collectability, which makes it nice for people that don't have a whole ton of money to collect things like Case, which once again I love the Case brand, but they are expensive. If this was a Case Congress from an equal period, it probably would have been around $80 to $100, if not more. So if you want a Congress pattern, which I don't see them a lot, I'm aware that companies do make Congress pattern knives still, even though they're infrequent. But if you want one and you see one of these at a used knife seller, flea market, a garage sale, go ahead and pick it up. It's a good knife, and it will clean up nicely. I think that's really all. That's all there is to it to this one. So thank you for watching. If you have one of these, tell me how you like it in the comments. Thank you.